Chapter 18. Ritual without ceremony. Presence in small acts. When many people hear the word ritual, they picture something deliberate and formal. Candles lit at a precise moment, objects arranged with care, words spoken in a set sequence. The idea often carries an image of preparation, special clothing, particular places or actions repeated in an exact order. Yet rituals do not need grandeur to matter. They do not need to be inherited traditions or events that others can see. Presence, memory, and meaning can live in the smallest acts, including those that pass entirely unnoticed. A ritual without ceremony is one that often hides in plain sight. It might be the way you rest your hand on the kettle while waiting for it to boil, the moment you stand at the same window with your first cup of tea, or the way you brush your hair before leaving the house. It could be the instant your hand touches the doorframe before stepping outside. These movements require no witness and no script. They do not need to be explained or justified. They simply happen, and in their happening, they connect you to something steady. In the Ghost movement, ritual is not defined by its size or its spectacle. It is understood as any act that holds you in relationship with memory, presence, or care. Whether it is public or private, formal, or entirely unstructured, the value lies in the thread it weaves between you and what matters. Ceremony can be beautiful, but its absence does not diminish meaning. In fact, the absence of formality often makes the act more intimate, more sustainable, because it needs no special conditions to exist. Rituals without ceremony are often the ones we do without naming. They arise naturally from the texture of our lives, and they survive precisely because they are simple. They are not tied to one place or time of day. They do not rely on a specific set of tools or an unbroken routine. Consider the act of pausing for a moment before answering the phone, letting the breath settle in your chest, or running your hand along the same patch of wall as you pass through a hallway. These are not traditions in any formal sense, but they form a quiet marker in time. They tell your body, you are here. One of the strengths of unceremonious rituals is their ability to travel. A morning stretch in bed, a whispered phrase before sleep, a glance at the sky on your way out of the door. These can continue even when life is unsettled. They do not depend on having the same kitchen, the same street, or even the same country. In the Ghost movement, such acts are understood as companions. They are not obligations. They are there when you can meet them, and they step back when you cannot. They ask for nothing more than you can give in that moment. Rituals without ceremony work quietly. They leave marks that are felt more than seen. Over time, they settle into muscle memory, shaping the body without fanfare. Your hand finds the same mug each morning without thought. You pull a curtain to let in the light, adjusting it to just the right angle without checking. You tilt your head slightly when listening for a familiar sound. Even after disruption, these habits often return as soon as the space to resume them appears. Many of these acts are bound to the senses. Warm water over the hands before preparing food. The faint scent of a cupboard that always reminds you of a certain place. The cool grain of stone beneath your fingertips as you walk a path you know well. Sensory details carry memory without needing language. They can also mark emotional ground. The touch of a hand to a photograph might bring comfort. A glance through the same window each morning might offer safety. Wiping a work surface before leaving a room can bring a sense of closure. Because they require so little, these rituals are adaptable. You can carry them into new homes, new seasons, or periods of uncertainty. They become portable containers of presence, proof that meaning does not rely on spectacle or recognition. Noticing such acts is rarely about creating new habits. It is about paying attention to what is already there. If you begin to look for the small repetitions in your day, the pauses, the touches, the glances, you might find a whole network of rituals you had not realized were holding you. Their power lies in their ease. They remain unstructured and voluntary. The moment they turn into obligations, they lose the very lightness that keeps them alive. Some will persist no matter what happens around you, revealing themselves as anchors in your personal tide. These small acts can also help in transitions. Washing your hands before rest, lighting a lamp when evening falls, placing your shoes in the same place each night. These might be practical gestures, but they also signal to the body and mind that one part of the day is closing and another is beginning. Some are so private you may never speak of them. Their value is not in being shared, but in the quiet intimacy of knowing they exist. When you live with rituals that require no ceremony, you make space for presence to move freely through daily life. They weave meaning into your hours without pressure. They can survive illness, loss, relocation, or change. They remind you that depth does not require a set stage or a planned script. It asks only for your attention in the moment it happens. Rituals without ceremony show that presence does not always need preparing for. It can arrive in the turn of your wrist, in the moment you notice the light change in a room, in the first sip of something warm. These acts do not seek recognition, yet they can be as steadying as any formal tradition. They release you from the weight of making every moment visible or significant to others. You can let them remain yours alone, not as secrecy, but as protection for their intimacy. Over time, these private acts become an invisible map of where you have been and who you have been becoming. They trace the crossings between one day and the next, the soft edges where one moment turns into another, the silent promises you have kept without ever writing them down. In the next chapter, we turn from the deeply personal to the shared, asking how presence can be carried between people. Just as a private ritual can be quiet and without formality, a gathering can honour memory without demanding structure or personal disclosure.